Hi, so today's video is going to be a response video to a post that kind of went viral on Instagram. I saw screenshots of this on Twitter and it kind of riled me up, and I thought that, I should just do a video response. So this video will be on my YouTube channel as per usual, but it will also be an IGTV on my Instagram so that the Bookstagram fam can see this, since this is where this discussion kind of started in the first place, right? So the post that I'll be responding to is from Sweet Sequels, and I have it right here. It is a post that is about cancel culture. I hate conversations about cancel culture, mostly because people don't really know how to have these conversations with the nuance that they should. It's very binary. It's very like pro cancel culture, anti cancel culture, and both sides tend to be really annoying. And this is an example of anti cancel culture. So let's just read her post. It starts off with this graphic saying a warning to woke bookstagram. If you keep canceling authors, eventually you will have nothing left to read. Okay, and then it has a bunch of graphics of all white people classic books. So the caption says, "Enough is enough. Bookstagram is beginning to look like the setting of a dystopian novel, and I don't like it. Friends, if we continue to cancel authors for every infraction, minor or major, real or imagined, eventually we will have nothing left to read. Let's go down the list, shall we?" She didn't say shall we, but I feel like shall we would have been really good there. Emily Emily something writes about blood magic in her fantasy novel. Anti-Semite, cancel her. Sarah J. Maas supports her Israeli family. Zionist, cancel her. J.K. Rowling believes biology is important. TIRF, cancel her. J. Christoph criticizes a black woman and her comments. Racist, cancel him. Dr. Seuss made a racist stereotype. Bigot, cancel him. Stephen King, Naomi Novik, Michael Crichton, J.M. Barrie, Tamora Pierce, Brandon Sanderson, Amy Kaufman, Cassandra Clare, Marissa Meyer, Orson Scott Card, Rainbow Rowell, Isaac Asimov. Cancel. I could keep going, but I don't have the space. I'm really glad you don't have the space. Meanwhile, observers are told don't buy their books, don't read their books, don't post about their books, or you'll be cancelled too. In Fahrenheit 451, Captain BT, the fire chief, tells our protagonist Montag about the history of burning books. It all starts with people being offended by what they're reading. It's better that books don't exist at all than to have uncomfortable feelings because of them. In the dystopian setting of F451, it is illegal to own books. It is illegal to read books. Ideas are dangerous and therefore must be banned. You know when somebody's a Trump supporter, you just know it. If we want to live in a society without books, we'll keep cancelling the people who write them. If we want to cripple and destroy art, we will continue in this trajectory. The books that remain, if any, will be limp, lifeless shadows of story as we used to know it. If you love reading, stop cancelling authors. Join the Society Against Book Banning at the link in my profile. Inna lillahi wa inna ilahi rajiun. Rest in peace to the brain cells that died for me to read that. I am not really upset about this post so much. I mean, it was written by somebody by the name of Haley, spelled like this. And I shouldn't be surprised that somebody with that name would have a perspective like this. But the fact that this post has well over 2,000 likes and quite a lot of comments supporting what the person is saying, what this shows me is that this triggered white woman really did resonate with a lot of y'all, and I'm here to deconstruct that. So I wanted to start off the discussion a little bit more empathically, because if you liked this post and if you agreed with what she said on a surface level, I understand where you're coming from. I'm in no way validating what she's saying or agreeing with her, but I do think that there is some validity to being tired of the way that the book community is. Some people in the book community are incredibly and annoyingly hypocritical, and have this unbearable penchant for overreacting and exaggerating. I've seen lots of examples of people making a huge situation out of something that was not a big deal because we're so incredibly hypocritical, we're so incredibly prone to trying to find problems with everything, to the point where people have to be scared and have to be on their toes even if they have the best of intentions when they're doing and saying something. I know what it's like to express opinions and have people twist what you're saying into this problematic thing where you are harming or invalidating others when that's really not what you were doing. I think a perfect classic example of something like this happening in the community is of course the infamous Carve the Mark fiasco with Veronica Roth, most known for writing the Divergent series. She came out with a new book back in 2015, 16, I can't remember, called Carve the Mark, and wow, the controversy that erupted after that, because before the book was published, I think somebody did a review of it where they called the book racist, and the book was labeled as racist, and everybody was talking about how racist this book was without even reading it. Don't read Carve the Mark, it's a racist bad book. Veronica Roth is a racist, terrible human being. And then when people actually started to read the book, they realized that the person who did the review completely misinterpreted and misconstrued and misrepresented what the book was about. And the book was not racist, and the author was in fact not racist, but by then it was too late. The book had already earned itself a reputation, and it was already cast to the wayside. So I'm very much aware of what the consequences of cancelling, especially somebody who doesn't deserve to be cancelled, can look like. And I understand that it is a frustrating thing to have to deal with as a member of the community, to see people be torn down like that. However, that only represents one side of the spectrum. I think the other extreme of the spectrum, which to me is equally as annoying and at times even more annoying and worse, is represented by posts like this, where people completely and utterly dismiss valid criticism and conflate that valid criticism with cancelling. Cancel culture is real and it has dire effects, and I'm not dismissing that, but the term cancel culture has also become a dog whistle. The minute somebody criticizes somebody who is well liked within the community, somebody who you look up to, somebody who you might think is great and could do no wrong, the minute somebody criticizes them, it's easy to blow the cancel culture dog whistle, because that is such an easy way of dismissing any criticism towards somebody who in some cases might deserve that criticism, right? And a lot of the times what y'all call cancelling is not even cancelling, right? J.K. Rowling has not been cancelled. I promise you J.K. Rowling is going to do fine, no matter how many people hate her, no matter how many people dislike her, no matter how many people boycott her, no matter how many people are not reading her books anymore. J.K. Rowling is doing just fine. She's the furthest thing from cancelled, right? We are all cancelled compared to J.K. Rowling right now, okay? She's living her best life, her best rich white woman life, while we are all here, broke as a fucking joke, talking about her on the internet. So to sit down and act as though as if she's been cancelled beyond repair is just silly to me. And no, the term that you're looking for is criticized. She was rightfully criticized, and she has now earned herself a reputation. She earned that reputation. She was the one who chose to say the things that she said, right? And she got rightfully criticized for what she said. Y'all can't just call that cancelling. Harry Potter is still going to be the most well-read series of all time. Let's be honest, right? Harry Potter has a grip on pop culture, and even people who don't want to publicly support J.K. Rowling anymore are still probably going to love Harry Potter and watch the movies and read the books. Harry Potter is not going anywhere anytime soon, and J.K. Rowling is certainly not. So stop calling things cancelling when it's not cancelling. Another thing that we kind of need to take note of is that half the time the criticism is valid, J.K. Rowling is transphobic, right? And her transphobia is not just like, you know, problematic dinner table opinions that your grandmother or your auntie might have, right? She's literally a person with a platform who is normalizing the systems that oppress trans people by completely and utterly dismissing the work that has been done by scholars in gender for years upon years. Completely and utterly dismissing that, liking posts from extremely transphobic people supporting their businesses and their endeavors. This woman has supported things that materially affects the lives of trans people in an aversive way. I'm not going to get into the details of J.K. Rowling and her transphobia. I just recommend to go watch ContraPoint's video because it was brilliant. document. It's long, but it goes through everything and touches on anything, every single thing that needs to be touched on with regards to J.K. Rowling's transphobia. Sarah J. Maas and her support for Israel, like Israel is literally a settler colonial state that is occupying Palestinian land, oppressing Palestinian people, ethnically cleansing them, displacing them from their homes. So forgive me and forgive other people for not liking Sarah J. Maas or not wanting to support her or not wanting to read her books, for being extremely complicit in what is essentially modern day colonialism. And nobody is saying that you can't read these books. Maybe some people are saying that you can't read these books. Maybe some people are saying that you shouldn't read these books. Or if you read Sarah J. Maas, then you're a Zionist. Or if you read J.K. Rowling, then you're a transphobic. Yes, some people might say that, but you could read whatever you want. I understand the importance and the need for separating the art from the artist, from separating the politics from the person, right? I know how important J.K. Rowling's books are to people. I know how important the Harry Potter series is for people. I know how foundational it is. I know how important Chimamanda Adichie's books are to people. Even though people don't like her politics anymore, I know what her books mean to people. I've read her books and really enjoyed them. So I understand the need to separate the author from the art, and I know that separating the art from the artist is a difficult conversation, but I do believe that there's a way to do it where you can be nuanced, where you can be critical of the author and the things that they have done and said to harm people, whilst also acknowledging, well, I've consumed their work. Their work has meant a lot. It's contributed to the field of literature in this way. It's not hard to acknowledge that limbo. It's the same thing with all these old dead classic authors, right? We know that a lot of them were racist. We know that a lot of them were sexist. We know that a lot of them were this, that, and the other. But we also acknowledge the importance of their work and what it has meant to the field of literature. Criticizing them and criticizing their work and snuffing out the racism and the xenophobia and all of that does not and should not amount to us censoring them or banning their books or saying that people shouldn't read their books. But y'all can't come and act like that's what we're doing every single time we try to call these authors out, hold them accountable, or try to see them for what they really are. And it certainly does not mean that we are living in some kind of dystopia. People becoming critical of things that they were not critical of before is not dystopia, honey. That's called development. You seeing it as dystopia simply means that you are now being made uncomfortable by the fact that people are recognizing things that they failed to recognize before. And calling that dystopia really indicates something that we've all known for a really long time, which is that white people know nothing about dystopia. White people know literally nothing about dystopia. The minute y'all feel uncomfortable about something, y'all yell dystopia. Somebody come and mash your big toe, y'all be like, oh my god, it's dystopia, it's like we're living in the Hunger Games, oh my god. Girl, shut the hell up. Shut up. Breathe in some air, breathe in the oxygen, go outside, touch some grass, feed a duck, feed some pigeons, break some bread for the squirrels, and relax. Y'all don't know what dystopia is. You know what dystopia is? Dystopia is what's happening in Palestine right now. The occupation of Palestinian land, the murdering, the mass murdering, the systematic murdering of Palestinian people by the Israeli state. That's dystopia. Y'all don't know anything about dystopia. Y'all don't know anything about dystopia. Somebody mash all your foot. Somebody mash your foot. And suddenly, you as Katniss Everdeen. Somebody criticize your favorite author, and suddenly, use Beatrice Pryor. We living in Divergent. We living in the Hunger Games. We living in Fahrenheit 451. This is not Fahrenheit 451, love. This is KARENHEIT 451. KARENHEIT 451. A classic case of white women doing what they do best. Making themselves false victims. Making people who are not victims false victims. And I just want to say, just to cap this video off, the whole thesis of this statement is that if we continue to cancel these authors, if we continue to cancel them, right, there'll be nothing else left to read. But who are these authors? Let's look at the names again. J.K. Rowling, Naomi Novik, Michael Crichton, Stephen King, J.M. Barrie, Brandon Sanderson, Amy Kaufman. Who else we have here in the little thing? We have J.R.R. Tolkien. We have the woman who wrote Little Woman. We have this one. We have that girl. We have C.S. Lewis. All of them is a set of white people. It's basically the point I'm trying to make. So all of the authors that you are listing out here that are being cancelled, who if their books are no longer around, there'll be nothing else to read. all white people. So let's just humor you for a second. Let's just humor that, right? Let's just pretend like let's pretend like this is true. The colored people, oh, we get so angry, so mad, oh my god, and we decide to burn up all the white people books. We take them, we throw them in a bonfire, and we burn all of them, all the white people books, except for the Green brothers, except for John and Hank. We're not gonna burn their books. Well, maybe we could burn An Abundance of Catherine's because nobody liked that book, but the rest of the white authors, we burning them. So pretty much all the white authors, they're gone. Their book's gone, right? Will there be nothing else left to read? I beg to differ, honey. Have a look at my shelves, okay? Have a look at the material. You could be the judge of it.
Look at the material.
You should be going home
You
anyway.
can be the judge of it.
Non-white authors have been out here writing some of the best books. Books better than y'all white thieves. And y'all know that. So I beg to differ. If we burn all of these authors' books, there'll be lots of things to read. So you know what? Let's do it. Let's burn them. Let's silence white people. Let's actually do that. Because if we actually do that, then maybe you'll have something to complain about. Maybe then your claims would be valid, and then finally people would actually have no choice but to read diversely. So we all win. Let's do that. Let's burn all the white people books. What do I have here to burn? Oh my god, I was gonna burn this book by a white person, but I think it's a really important book. Like, even though it is by a white person, like I recognize the importance of this particular tome. And that is Elixir by Hilary Duff. This and anything by the Green brothers, we don't burn. Iconic. Okay, I feel like that sums up my rant. If you have thoughts on this, leave them in the comments down below. I really don't know what else to say. It's really early in the morning. Didn't really sleep last night. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.